Live from the Export Beer Garden studio and brought to you by Export Ultra, the beer for here. This is the Agenda podcast for Tuesday, the 28th of May.
The Agenda podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
I don't like starting the podcast off on an allegation or an accusation.
Really?
But it behooves me. My journalistic integrity behooves me.
It behooves. What does behooves mean?
I don't know, but I feel it.
Okay.
I feel behooved.
You feel behooved?
I feel like it's like obligated. Like you don't want to.
Yeah.
But you know, we're about standards here at the ACC, and you seem to have breached a couple. The headline in the Herald this morning reads: ACC boss flies business class for $32,000 Europe work trip amid 390 proposed job cuts. Now, the image that was posted on the ACC's feed shows your face. How do you respond to these allegations?
Wow, it's gutter journalism for a start from the Herald. Look, I wish I had 390 employees I could cut. But this is just Joe Jury at his best, really. There's a lot of headlines that fly around the ACC. My favourite one was the ACC taxi scandal.
Yes.
You know, and I loved just reposting it and saying, because there was one in Northland where they're getting ripped off all the time.
They were getting, so people who were on ACC, they got basically taxi chips, or as Jason Hoyt calls them, taxi chitties. And then people all around the country were saying they either weren't getting picked up or they were late, the service was all fucked up. And it was attributed to us.
Yes.
So we had to divvy up blame as to who was who. Who was the one in Northland? Was that
Lee Baker?
Lee Baker,
yeah. So that's his fault. Once again, I've actually had a couple of messages from mates in Australia saying, love the headline.
Yeah.
Like, what?
What have you done? So
what have I done? And
I
I think it says, what did Joe Jury say on the social post? I was just going over there to ruin another sports event.
Another sporting event. Well,
I'll do it again.
The last time you went to Europe, I was with you. You did not fly business class.
Certainly didn't.
No, you were cattle class with the rest of us for the Export Ultra Beer Garden tour to Paris.
Yes.
Where one guy got cut off, I think, a total of 3 times on the same flight.
Well, it's a 16-hour flight to Dubai.
It is, to be fair.
So you have got a chance to get cut off multiple times.
Twice he got cut off. The first was the person in front of him reclined and bumped his red wine onto his pants. And he was so steamed that he took his pants off and then sat down and then ordered a refill. And the lady came over and goes, "Sir, you've got no pants on. I can't serve you on this flight." And then the next one is, as we're coming into land, it's like, bing, bong, we're about to come into land, whatever, in Dubai. And he's like, fuck, ordered like another massive round of drinks. And the lady took the order, went down to the back of the plane. Then a man came out and goes, "Sir, you're about to land in a dry country. You need to respect their customs. There will be no more drinks served aboard this flight." And so he got cut off twice. The irony was, as soon as we landed, we went straight to the pub at Dubai.
Yeah, there wasn't dry.
I think it's a massive misconception about Dubai.
Oh, yeah. The whole of the Middle East is a misconception. If you go to the nearest hotel, you can get as liquored as much as you want. But speaking of the Beer Garden Tour, it's back again.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to the ultimate, probably the greatest beer garden
in the world,
and that is Munich. And we just so happen to be there, once again, fortuitously there during Beer Fest.
What?
So, and you and a chance for you and a mate, you can join us, text Ultra to 3236, follow the link, register. That's all you have to do. And you can join myself, Manaia, Jeremy Wells, and the Export crew over there for 7 days.
Oh, my God. I'm so excited. Well, I was talking to Matt Ward about it. As you know, he spent a lot of time in Europe on the old super yachts. And he said it was probably the best week of his life that he spent at
that's great.
Beer Fest there.
Yeah, so just get onto it. Text Ultra to 3236, and I think we're drawing that in a couple of weeks.
Is there a thing where... Oh, in a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, you better get in quick.
Yeah.
Is there a thing... Is it true where if you stand up on the table with your stein, everyone will just turn and cheer at you and chant at you, and you've got your chance to buff the whole thing? If you fail, you get kicked out?
There's different rules in different tents. Like there's a feral tent full of feral young New Zealanders and Australians and South Africans.
Yeah.
I think that's the Hofbrauhaus. That's also where later on in the day everyone's knickers and bras and undies get ripped off them and thrown onto the rotating pig in the middle of the pit. It's different strokes for different folks and different tents. That's the most feral one, and no other tent is like that. And there's 20 tents. And that Hofbrauhaus one's a smaller one. They probably actually knocked that on the head because It was just feral. It was like the van tour people going on van tour.
Oh, yes,
It was those types anyway.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I remember dancing on the tables and not really.
You didn't get tossed?
No, I didn't get tossed because there's a certain time where everyone can do it. Like if you're just a mutant just on the table, everyone just say get off. But there's a certain time where a certain song was played and everyone gets up. Usually you get up on the seats, not on the actual table, because the tables is full of beers and chickens and pork knuckles. So you usually stand on the bench.
Yeah.
And the benches are those classic wooden, indestructible, and you're jumping up and down and be 4 or 5 of you, and it's like a trampoline. It never breaks. I never saw one break.
It's like the one they do the gymnastics on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's pretty
down.
wild. It's great times as well. It's not like any beer fest you go to here. It's the OG.
You know how you said there's that one wild tent? Is there a full spectrum where at the other end there's a tent where they sit around and discuss literature, or
Look,
or is it all pretty loose?
There's a lot of traditional German ones where like they won't let foreigners in.
Okay.
Because the Italians have a bad reputation there because they're just massive sex pests.
Yes.
And then you got the Aussies and Kiwis who they like, but they're just massive piss heads.
Yeah.
And then they congregate together and behave badly.
Yeah.
But the majority of it is, and then there's even a wine tent.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Very
you can go there.
progressive.
Yeah, so there's smaller little ones you can go to, like local ones. So, I don't think they sit around and talk about literature. Every single one has an umpire band in the middle rotunda. So,
right.
Yeah. There's live music the whole time.
So there's not speakers. Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is absolutely great. I'm very excited.
The best thing about it though, just one more story. To start the festival, the mayor of Munich, at midday, they cracked the first keg, and it's an old wooden thing. They knocked the top off it.
Yeah.
The mayor fills a stein, and the official start of Beer Fest is when that mayor finishes that handle, that stein. So the mayor stands up.
Does he scull it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is great because I've always had this issue with politicians. Like, where are the politicians that I'd follow into battle? They don't exist anymore.
They're the mayor of Munich.
They're the mayor of Munich. We need something like that in New Zealand. If you want to be the mayor of your town, whatever your town is, you have to be, good at something. Like, and where I'm from, we have the Pest Quest. We shoot wallabies once every year. Whoever shoots the biggest wallaby, they're the mayor.
Or the most.
Or the most.
Or the biggest, yeah.
Although 1 year a guy did shoot one from one of the local parks. Shot a tame wallaby, entered.
Wow, is there such a thing as a tame wallaby? That sounds like a tame possum. They all deserve to die, don't they?
Well, yeah, no, but this thing's like at the park there was a thing and there was like 8 wallabies, and I think
they were caged?
Oh yeah, shit yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he's just walked up to the cage with a little handful of nuts and gone, entered it, won a hat, t-shirt, and I think about $500.
Oh, okay. So
had to return it all.
Oh, the hat and t-shirt and everything.
The hat and the t-shirt.
I see Mahi Drysdale's going for the mayoralty of Tauranga.
Yeah, see, there's another one that I'd follow into battle, only if he's sitting down and facing backwards.
And also, he's come out. Well, I think some of his opposition have come out to slander him. He said he's still going to live in Cambridge.
Oh, but he wants to be the mayor of Tauranga.
Yeah, so he's going to commute over the Kaimais.
Oh, that ain't going to wash.
I didn't think it would. For me, I was like, you're going to have to change the script on that.
Yeah, if you lived in Cambridge and wanted to be the mayor of Hamilton, I could see it, but only if he rose to Hamilton every morning down the Waikato. that would be my condition there. You can't have a mayor of a place that doesn't live in the place.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I thought as well. I thought you had to be like a ratepayer. Although, remember Tim Shabba? He goes, I don't care where as long as I'm mayor. And he moved from Waitakere City to Invercargill and just stayed down there and
worked for him.
Yeah.
We once tried to tee up an interview with him, and his receptionist made us refer to him as your lordship or his lordship.
Oh.
And she referred to him as his lordship as well. I don't know what was going on down there in Invercargill. But like, what would your town have if you, maybe this is a good one for the voicemails on yours, please. Let us know what your town's thing would be. Like, the mayor of Munich has to drink a stein.
Yeah.
Does the mayor of Tauranga, for example, Mahi Drysdale, every Sunday does he have to run up and take a selfie in skimpy workout clothes at the top of Mount Maunganui?
Yeah, I think so. And I was just saying, in Hamilton, you have to give a positive STD test once a month.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
to even be eligible.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, all right. Let us know where you're from and what your candidates should have to go through. Just a quick story that I saw that really hit a nerve with me. A man was dragged 30 metres by a car after a woman duped him on Facebook Marketplace. So basically what had happened was he was going to buy an iPhone off a woman. She said, bring $1,000, come meet me here. He shows up. She's sitting in her car. She goes to hand him the iPhone. He hands her the $1,000. She takes the iPhone and the $1,000 back into the car and tries to peel out. He grabs onto the car, gets dragged 30 metres down the road. Where did this happen? Hamilton, of course.
Yeah.
And it was just, it just triggered a nerve with me because I don't think, has anyone ever had a good interaction on Facebook Marketplace?
Facebook Marketplace, and I've said this, it's where the world's dumbest people go.
Yeah.
It's where the stupidest people on earth congregate.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think part of it is because you don't go on there to look for something. I feel like a lot of times it's impulse purchase. You're just on Facebook like, happy birthday to Tim. Oh, congratulations. Like someone's photo. And then you're like, what's that? A phone? Oh, yeah, okay, I'll buy that. And then all of a sudden you're making these terrible decisions. I reckon that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
But I have had nothing but every time it's like when you try and give something away and they're like,
oh my God, can you hold it on to it, mate? I said, no, mate, it's out the front.
Yeah.
You're first in, first served. Did you let it go? It's like, oh, shut up, dickhead.
Yeah.
I know where you live now. Fuck you.
What are you going to do? You're going to come around and try and start a fight over a fucking cat scratching post? You know? And so now I'm like, box of beer minimum, whatever we're giving away, even if that's twice the value of the thing that I'm giving away, I want a box of beer minimum for the fuck around. That's the equivalent that I want. I just think Facebook Marketplace is my fucking head in. So I love seeing that story. Look, let's take a quick breather. We're going to come back. We've got some ridiculous sporting stories to talk about. So we'll be back in a sec. The first one that's caught your eye, and I actually think this may have been announced a couple of months ago, but
Yes.
Shaquille O'Neal has been named the president of Reebok basketball around the world, globally. This is Reebok's attempt at re-entering the world of being cool, because I haven't seen someone wear a pair of Reeboks since Chris Goodwin, former breakfast producer for Matt and Jerry.
And collector of shoes.
He had a legit pair of Reebok pumps.
Yeah.
You know, you pump the tongue
Yes.
and it bloody
Inflates.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what happened a while ago, Adidas bought Reebok. And what Adidas did is just kind of, you know, when you buy a competitor and just go,
Just gut it.
yeah.
You're all gone.
Yeah. So, and then they recently sold it again for whatever, and they've sold it to a private investment company who are looking to re-inject it with a bit of love. And
Yeah.
they've gone back to the well. Obviously, Shaquille O'Neal was one of the OGs, Reebok OGs.
Yeah.
He signed with them when he was in college. So he
seems illegal at the time.
but he apparently has been pestering the CEO of Reebok constantly with Adidas going to sell it, Adidas keen to sell, until they actually did. And I think somehow Shaquille O'Neal, I think, is involved in the investment company that bought it as well. And he is now the president of basketball operations, or whatever that is, and his vice president, Allen Iverson. So him and Allen Iverson, who are both Reebok OGs from back in the day, are now running basketball for Reebok, which is going to be wild.
It is. It's going to be good as well. I haven't seen it come back into the NBA yet. Puma did a big push a couple of years ago. The latest one that's hit the NBA is Skechers. And a couple of dudes have signed with Skechers. Yeah. So
It's a real boomer for sure.
I know. Joel Embiid signed with Skechers. He is the most injured player in the league. This is
Makes sense.
Terrible. Yeah, terrible. What's he? Is he on those power walkers for the mums where they go walking around Hagley Park with their coffees in the morning? Like, is that what Joel Embiid's turning up to the playoffs in?
It's the slip-on Skechers again, man.
Yeah.
They're just like they're a mixture of slipper and activewear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They are for the
Like all birds.
small town. Yeah, they're all birds. They're like the small town diner when you walk in. They'll always be in a pair of those Skechers. But that's just orthopedic. The other one is Kyrie Irving. So when he went on his flat earth anti-Semitic sort of rampage last year, he got dropped by his shoe sponsor. I think was Adidas at the time, Nike. I don't know, one of them. And he got picked up by a Chinese shoe company. So like, we don't give a shit. And he turned up to the playoffs the other day. I think he'll be wearing them again today. In brown leather basketball shoes, boots with tassels on them.
I saw those.
Yeah.
I saw the tassels.
Are they the most disgusting thing you've ever seen?
He probably designed it though.
Yeah, he would have. He would have. But anyway, do your own research into those shoes.
But Shaquille O'Neal's great because there's an article on him about how he announced he was going to be president of operations and went to the Reebok conference and the president said, "Oh, he can't be with us," but he's recorded a video message and it was him like lounged in bed saying, "I feel awful, I can't be there, you know, it means so much to me." And you could just tell that people would be like, ugh. And then he bursts on stage and goes, "Woo, I'm here, I'm here." And he told a great story about how he always loved Reebok. When And when he was negotiating with Reebok, he just kept asking for the most ridiculous shit, and they kept saying yes the whole time. And he was just like just trying the most wildest things, and they kept saying yes. And so he committed to them. But then he had a meeting he had to go to Nike, and just to fuck Nike off, he wore a Reebok jacket to the meeting, which really fucked them off.
Yeah.
And he was no intention of signing to Nike, but he said he took all of the gear home with him to give to his family. And just hooked his family up with a bunch of Nike kit.
One of the ridiculous things that he wore was to one of the NBA All-Star games. He wore a shoe. This was when cell phones had just come out. And he wore a shoe that had a cell phone built into it.
Oh, like Maxwell Smart.
I don't know. I don't know Maxwell
you'll
Smart.
get that. Oh, there's a generation that'll get that.
Yeah. But so he's got this giant basketball boot. Obviously, he's got the biggest boot that you'll ever see in your life. And Allen Iverson picked it up. He was just like, what the fuck? And like pretended to take the phone call. It's literally got an antenna poking out the toe of it. And when you turn it over, there's a phone cast into the sole of the shoe. And Allen Iverson picked it up and pretended to take a phone call. And there was someone on the line. He was just like, what the fuck? Oh, it actually works. And yeah, can't look that one. That's one of the all-time NBA moments. If he brings back something like that, I'm all in.
Yeah, they said, look, it's their first year. So he said, look, it's going to take a while because obviously they can't just... They're basically signing college players at the moment.
Yeah, right.
Because you can do it with that. You can sign college players to images and rights.
Name and likeness.
Yeah, so... look out for the next couple of years. They've got their heritage range that does all right, which is all their pumps and everything.
Yeah, I'd quite like a pair of... I think the pumps are cool. I think I would look like a fuckwit in them, but I think they're cool.
I think most people do look like... Anyone over the age of kind of 30 trying to wear basketball boots looks like a bit of a fuckwit.
Yeah, it can be tough. Although, you know what? If that's how I feel, I should just go with it.
But you play basketball, though.
I do play basketball.
You can go on court with a pair of pumps, and that's fine.
I know. The problem is, and this is for all sports, you're really spotlighting yourself if you show up in a flash pair of boots.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you suck, it's just going to make it so much more egregious.
Yeah, it's a bit like cricket as well when you see that guy turn up with a $2,000 worth of kit.
I know.
And it sucks.
I know, but the other part of it that's tough is that oftentimes it's not until you're a little bit older that you can afford the cool stuff that you wanted when you were a kid.
Totally.
So like I play in a social league on Wednesday nights, shout out to the Timu Timberwolves, and every night there's someone in just like the latest flashes boots that you've ever seen, and you're like, we all suck. Like we work in offices, but you're like, oh, you know what, go for it. You probably wanted the LeBrons when you were 15, couldn't afford them. Now that you can.
That's a bit like The Last Man Stands, which is a great league, by the way. If you've got it in your town or city, join up if you've got the time. Only a couple of hours. But I see that as well. But they give you a new ball every game, which is quite balling. They give you a brand new white pill every game. And I always thought that was pretty cool until I worked out that the pills they were getting us were from like cheap Pakistani hard. They were hard as. So we weren't very soft. And they were just breaking bats. But you had like middle-aged men coming out in like $1,800 GM bats.
Yeah.
And then just snapping them on these cheap balls. And then the person who won the most was the dude that was at like Cricket Express who was repairing all of these like $2,000 bats.
I was just going to say, if you were a bat maker or seller, you supply Last Man Stands.
Yeah.
And then advertise very hard at that demographic. Anywhere you can target them.
So Last Man Stands, do play it, but don't use a new bat.
A little bit of tennis overnight. Nadal lost to Zverev. This is in France. This is Roland Garros. No?
Yeah, it's the clay court in Roland Garros. Yeah,
and he's knocked out in the first round. And a lot of speculation that may be the last time that we see Nadal. Are we sticking a fork in him? Is he done?
Yeah, I think potentially that might be the case. He's won 14 French Opens.
Jesus,
14. Like he is almost unbeatable on that, and so. To get humped in the first round, maybe a bit of a ooh.
Yeah, and this happens with every athlete when they get to a certain point. That I saw on the news this morning, they were saying, he's an excellent player, but he's just had a bad run of injuries. Like, no, he's old.
Yeah.
Like we all know once you hit a certain age, the injuries, they come out of nowhere and they last forever.
Yes, and I know that for a fact. Broken my ribs multiple times the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with sport.
How's the hammy?
Yeah, the hammy. Sometimes I feel the hammy and I go, oh God, if I go skiing again, that's going to go again. And I'm going to get another banana boat ride.
Yeah, maybe a green whistle this time.
Yeah, I need to ham that up a bit more, don't I?
Completely shears off the bone.
There's some more ATP I saw. This is a great one out of the French Open. There's a French wild card. Almost got disqualified out of the French Open. Terence It's money. Anyway, why? He got a bit frustrated with one of his shots and just skied a ball into the crowd. Like, poof. Guy in the crowd wasn't looking, sconed him on the head. And apparently that's an instant disqualification if you intentionally hit the ball into the crowd. He didn't
I knew this. Yes.
Yeah, he didn't get disqualified because remember,
Denis Shapovalov?
Yeah, and there was another. It was actually Djokovic got done when he hit a linesman in the throat.
Oh yeah,
when he like blindly went and hit him in the throat, and he got disqualified. Well, I think he got it. He didn't. He managed to save it, but
worm his way out of it. Denis Shapovalov, the Canadian dude, he hit an umpire square in the eye. I think it might have even broken his eye socket. It was one of those frustration ones. It's like, fuck, whacked it, and it was a frozen rope right at the umpire's eye, and just bang. It is one of the videos that makes me laugh until I cry every time I watch it.
It's up there with the blind cricket one, where the guy scones that guy in the middle of the head. No, with this one, no. Like I watched it, and he basically just skies it in the air, skies it in the air. So this dumbass person who's in the crowd, obviously not watching the game, and gets sconed. So they stop the game for 10 minutes as a supervisor goes into the crowd to talk to the loser who got hit on the top of the head by a tennis ball. And after a protracted, long discussion, he just got a warning, not disqualification. But it's like, grow up, Dennis.
Did it hit him on the way down?
Yeah.
Oh, well, fucking get a grip.
I know. Totally. Should have caught it and kept the ball.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's ever been killed by a tennis ball at all, but certainly not by a ball on the way down. It's like on the golf course. I can't remember who. It might have been Bryson DeChambeau. I was watching a video of one of the guys, and he said no one's ever been killed by a bouncing golf ball. So if you're going to hit someone, as long as it bounces first, you're fine.
Well, that was my argument when I got some boomers having a go at me. I was like, it rolled up to your ankle. When was the last time? And he goes, people die. I was like,
on the full.
Yeah.
Maybe on the full.
Not on the full, but that rolled up to your ankle. It was a great shot, by the way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was looking, only because I went down the tennis hole looking at Nadal. There's a guy on the ATP tour. His name is Alexander Bublik. And he's known as the underarm server-in-chief. So he's basically prolific with the underarm serve. You know, when they're bouncing it and pretending they're about to serve, and they just go dink and hit it.
Oh, right. So he doesn't. So it's like a trick shot.
Yeah, but he did it 6 times in one game. Like, in one service set, he did it 6 times. One time he did it 3 in a row when he was love 40 down, and he came back to deuce. So the other guy was freaking out. But he lost the game eventually. But he put 6 in one game, and it was out of control. And you watch it, the crowd are going, "Hey!" And he did it again. They're like, "Hey!" And you can see his opposition go, "You piece of shit! Stop taking the piss."
Yeah, that's great. It's a triple bluff.
Yeah,
because you presume he's not going to do it twice in a row.
Yeah,
so he just
kept on doing it, and then he did it 3 more times in that same game.
I love that. That's such a great trick shot. I feel like at the top level, that probably is not going to work. It's going to lose a bit of efficiency.
It was a very much. What was that Aussie Wounder? He used to do it quite a lot as well.
The Leighton Hewitt?
No, the other one who only plays majors.
Oh,
real hothead.
Yeah. Why are we both blanking on
Kyrgios, that's it. He does the occasional underarm, but not as much as the underarm server-in-chief, Alexander Bublik. Search him on YouTube and watch it. Yeah.
It would have been a great vibe punt. To the horse racing desk now. Imperatriz. This is the horse that was retired at I believe the start of this year. Adam, is that right? Start of this year, end of last year?
It was halfway through the season. He retired after a Group 1 win in Australia.
Yeah, 10-time Group 1 winner is on sale today. One of the more ridiculous parts about today is that the person who's looking after Imperatriz is taking an iPad down because Imperatriz can't go over. It's being sold on the Gold Coast, but they're not moving it from Hamilton. It's still in its paddock there.
Right.
They just said couldn't be bothered with the flight there, flight back, blah, blah,
Well, there's high risk that something might happen on the flight.
That's right, yeah. So the prospective buyers have been over in the last couple of weeks. They've all come and had a look at it. The person who's looking after it at the moment is going to take an iPad down to the paddock when it's being sold so it can see what all the fuss is about. In most areas of animal handling, you're taught not to anthropomorphize animals, but anyway, we're going to leave this one. The reason it was a out of the blue almost retirement. It was an injury, and then it was like all of a sudden it's like, nah, we're retiring this thing. Never. It was a little bit of like, why? It's like on track to being one of the greatest racehorses of all time. Well, this is why. It is forecast today to be sold for $7 7 million Australian dollars at this. Like this, that is an eye-boggling amount of money.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And this morning I did make a faux pas, and I said that's pretty good eating, because you can sell like a cup of horse jizz for about 150 grand for a good horse.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
It's a mare.
yeah. That was my one mistake.
Yeah, but the stud fees for animals, you're right, are ridiculous. In a past life, I've mentioned this before, I worked in the alpaca shearing industry, and over in the UK, we shore an alpaca, and once we'd finished it and put it back out into the pen, the guy goes, "Do you know how much that was worth?" And we were like, "No, how fucking much is alpaca worth?" It's a male alpaca, black.
$100.
80,000 pounds.
What?
That thing was worth, and it was because black alpacas are quite rare, and 100% of its offspring were black. So it's like it's siren fee. If you pay for a tube of its jizz,
you're guaranteed
like quite a rare alpaca.
Oh.
I was like, fuck! I'm glad you didn't tell me that beforehand.
Before you opened up its throat with your shears.
Before I unzipped it, cut one's eyelid off.
The eyelid doesn't matter though, as long as you didn't cut his willy off.
The problem with the eyelid is, here's how
Oh god.
industry secrets. Like for a lot of animals when they get cut, and actually this is what it was invented for in World War II, you super glue the cuts back together.
Yeah.
How do you super glue an eyelid? So
An eye patch on it.
yeah, well I just fucking and then said to the farmer, what's that one over there called? And they just released it while he's looking away. I don't know what happened.
That one's got conjunctivitis.
Yeah, it's like I saw another shearer one day. I'm going off into the weeds now. He put his sheep bucked, and his handpiece went straight into its eye, and eye juice and shit everywhere. The farmer wasn't looking, and when he turned around, the shearer just goes, "Something wrong with that one's eye," and then put it down the race. Oh, that was good shit. Just quickly before we get to yours, please. This is a story that really drives me out the wall. Air New Zealand is doubling its baggage prices, including pet carriage fees. The pet one, whatever. But the doubling in prices is for any bag that you either
Additional.
oversize or additional, yes. So if you buy a seat and bag, that's still the same.
Yeah.
But then any additional one that you add is going to be doubled. I think the overweight charge goes from $20 to $40, long hauls, blah, 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 blah. It's all going up. And I was thinking in lockdown, remember when Air New Zealand was like, hey, we're going under, we need to be bailed out by the government. And the government is the people, in my mind. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, we'll bail you out. But in a couple of years, don't come back and fucking gouge my eyes out for extra baggage. Never forget that we bailed you out, all right? Well, you're the only reason that you still exist is because we bailed you out.
I think you should travel lighter.
And here they are.
I'm a huge fan of traveling light.
Yeah, so am I.
And so much so that I've almost got it down to a fine art that if I'm away for 2 days, I reckon I can get everything I need in my computer bag.
Yeah.
Two pairs of undies,
Same pair of pants.
Same pair of pants.
Same hoodie.
Same hoodie. Maybe I'll change the t-shirt. I'll sleep in my undies.
Yeah.
Discard. I won't even bring the undies home. I'll chuck them in the bin of the motel or hotel. And I reckon I've got it down to a fine art.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about that because I don't think I'm ever going to take 2 bags with me unless someone from the wider ACC support team send us to a golf tournament and tell us to take 6 chili bins with us.
Oh, my God. I don't know who exactly you're talking about, but I'm going to presume it's sister of Braden, who one day when we were flying to, I think, Dunedin, I didn't know this. Our flight was at 6:30. I'm still in the Uber. I'm screening phone calls from her. She's going, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I was like, look, I'll be there for the flight. And then eventually I get a text saying, there's an oversized bag here. You have to check it in. I can't check it in for you. If you don't show up in the next 10 minutes, I'm calling in a bomb threat under your name.
Oh, speaking of bomb threats, see the mace we've got here, the World Test Championship replica mace in that wooden box in Christchurch. We were flying back up to Auckland with it after taking it on tour, and we were in Christchurch, and they said, "Oh, you need to take it to the oversized area." And I went to the oversized area. It was unmanned, so I just put it on the weighing thing and then left it. Oh my God! All hell broke loose because I was upstairs, and then there was people like over the loudspeaker calling my name as I was going through the thing. I was like, "What the fuck?" And he goes, "Is that your wooden box downstairs that looks like it actually looked like it housed an M16 or some sort of weapon. And I was like, yeah, I left it on the oversize. There was no mofo there. So I just put it there and expected him to put it on. I'd already done the admin elsewhere. I was just put it on there and like, you can't do that. And I was like, well, if someone was there, I wouldn't have left it there. And I was like, this argument going back and forth. You're lucky we didn't destroy it. And I was like, you would have destroyed a national treasure. Do you want what's in there? And I lifted it out and they're like, oh my God.
It's a World Test Championship, mate. Yeah, no, we've had a similar thing happen when me and my mother were on holiday. We ended up in Balclutha, of all places. Car explodes. We have to catch the Night Rider bus back to Waimate. And we see the biggest 100-man fight outside the pub in Balclutha on this bus. It's like, holy shit. Get back to Waimate at about midnight, drops us off outside the police station. Mum says, I'm not walking all of our bags back home. There's obviously no taxis or anything. So she puts them in behind the police station thinking, the police will look after them, we'll come and get them in the morning.
They just presume they're going to look after them like some sort of concierge.
We go home, we come down to the police station in the morning. The police had brought out like a fire hose and just hosed our bag down. All of our clothes, like Mum's computer was in there. She'd taken a bunch of library books for the holiday. Just fucked everything. And they were like, we thought it was a bomb. It's like, who's dropping off a bomb at the Waimate police station at midnight?
Also, who's defusing a bomb with a fire hose? Like, how Waimate is that?
They would have just called John McConnell for the fire brigade. But like, we got a bag here.
I think it's a bomb.
Could be a bomb. Don't know.
What do you reckon we do? Just douse it in water.
I'll be down. Well, they would have been itching to get the hose out, So they're like, fucking absolutely, I'll be down in a sec, and I will blast this thing to oblivion.
Oh well, I wish they'd told that to all of the kind of armed forces that are having to look for IEDs all through the Middle East and everything. They could just hose them down.
Yeah, just get a regional volunteer fire brigade.
Come and hose the track in front of you until the IED goes off.
Yeah, from rural New Zealand. Just get the bloody Waimate volunteer fire brigade out there and just. All right. We went way off into the weeds with bomb defusals there. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with yours, please.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Leader, home of the lasagna topper.
This is your chance to give us a bit of feedback through the voicemail function on the iHeartRadio app. But I'd like to start, Lane, with a message that we received via Instagram.
Yes.
From one Dave Fitzy. Said, love listening to you guys. But for people that work in delivering sports news and shit, you guys actually have very little knowledge.
Oh, well, I listened to the intro, buddy. It's home of sporting nonsense and claptrap.
Manaia saying the T20 World Cup starts in 6 weeks. Facepalm emoji. Only for G Lane to correct him and say it's in 2 weeks. It starts this Saturday. Just do a bit of research, guys. Come on.
Hey, Fitzy, you can shove it in your ass because I was talking about when New Zealand are going to play.
Yeah.
And that is not this weekend. It is the weekend after. So it's 2 weeks away. So suck on my balls.
And it also starts on Sunday New Zealand time.
Yeah, suck my balls.
So do your own research on that,
yeah,
Dave. And also, no podcast encourages you to do your own research more than ours. If you're coming to us for actual sporting information and knowledge, you've got bigger problems.
No, but thanks for the note, Fitzy. I didn't mean suck on my balls. But if I do see you, I will pin you down and lower my balls into your mouth.
All right, let's get into the voicemails. First one here. Call it yours, please.
Okay, lads. Hey, Olympic chat. Bloody good. But my problem with Olympics is that don't really have a baseline of where the athletes are at. So we watch other sports and all that kind of stuff, and we know where superstars of other sports are at. So why not chuck them in there and see how they go? So the question is, what superstars do you want to see there, and what Olympic events do you want to see them do? Bless. Love you, babe.
I like this because I thought initially when I was listening to this, I thought he was going to go down the track of put like an everyday person in, when people were so just put like an average guy in the 11th lane of the 100 metres.
Yeah.
But I like this. Gives you a better idea of how good people are.
So
for example, because you know how far, say, Geordie Barrett can kick a rugby ball, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then you can use that as a baseline to figure out how good these Olympic athletes actually are. Because it's a fair point. They're all so good. It's quite often hard to tell just how good they are compared to the average person. But a good benchmark would be an athlete that you are familiar with. So, for example, I would like to put Anthony Edwards in the high jump. Now, this is a guy who won both Dunk of the Year and Block of the Year in the NBA this year.
Yeah.
The block, he hit his head not on the bottom of the backboard, but on the middle of the backboard. He can jump out of the gym. He just had another one yesterday where he baptized some bloke.
Was that would it be a more vertical jump? Where they have the vertical jump challenge where you whack the
that's in
pole?
that's in the combine.
Yes.
I'd like
As
to
a
see him
pu-
in the high jump. Though.
Okay. Because could you? Because we're not going to invent a sport for them.
No.
So
It's what sports that actually exist.
he's going to have to learn to do the Frosby, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I back him.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. The way he jumps, I wouldn't be shocked if he could just scissor jump it. Scissor jump as high as just about anyone else. Because I also wonder, a lot of times, the high jumper, obviously they're elite at their sport, but if they were any good at dribbling a ball or throwing a ball or anything, they'd probably be a basketball player.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I feel like the best athletes end up in the highest paying sports. So it would be quite interesting to see. I know in Australia they did a thing, I forget what it was called, where they brought people from all different sports and they played in a bunch of rock climbing and jungle gym ninja style shit. Billy Slater won everything. Just cleaned up all the AFL guys, all the rugby guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe is it a Rico Ioane, put him in the 100-meter heats just to see just how fast those dudes are, or like a Jason Saab sort of guy out of the
or the junkyard dog and stick him in there.
The junkyard dog, yeah, perhaps in like a triple jump or something. Could you
I was
get?
just trying to think of athletes that would.
Yeah, just to see how good other players are. For example, could you put Adi Savir in the Black Ferns women's sevens?
Yeah. Just to see.
Just as a benchmark, because then we'd be like, oh shit.
It's quite good.
They're quite good, yeah. Hey, I don't know. I don't know how it would play out. That's my point. Yeah, no, I think the LeBron or Anthony Edwards are one of those dudes in the high jump would be it for me.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of other sports because you look at NFL, I suppose some of those quarterbacks could probably throw a javelin a long way.
Oh, yes.
Because that's very much a javelin type action.
Could Patrick Mahomes throw a football further than someone could throw a javelin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It could?
I reckon he could throw that. He can throw a football, what? In my head, he could throw it almost
100 yards.
The length of the field almost, can't he?
But then what's the Olympic record for? Geez, if only we had Dave Fitzy here to do all the research on this.
I know. Yeah. Fitzy, get in touch.
Fitzy, look those numbers up. Let us know. Get in touch. Send us a voicemail, just like this other person has. Caller, yours, please.
Start talking about Marty Martin's kicking game. A few weeks ago, might have been Di Henwood mentioned, why aren't we grubbering, getting a dropout or a try? Seen a few grubbers on the weekend. Good play. Johnson needs to do that. Otherwise, kick Smarty Martin in. Grubbers. Woo.
Massive Grubbers fan.
Massive fan of Grubbers.
Without hearing that previously, I did think that the other day when I was watching Tamati Martin and he put that little chip kick through and it was pinpoint because the winger took it in the field of play and then ended up in the dead ball. But high risk when more effectively he could have just grubbed it in there and then he could have flattened him and we got a goal line dropout. Because what's the rule? If they catch it on the full in goal, it's a 20-metre restart.
Yes. The rule has changed. I saw a greater mind than me explaining why you don't see as much of the grubber anymore. It's because so it's still, if you tap it dead in goal as a defensive team, it's a goal mouth dropout. But they've changed the rules to where it's more easily contestable. So that's why you're seeing so many short dropouts from teams in that situation. And so the penalty for tapping it out is less, and that's why you don't see... Because back about 10 years ago, every single play was grubber into the in goal and see what happens.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of gone away a little bit. And it's because the drop goals are easier to contest. The dropouts, rather.
Right.
That message actually came through to the Mad Monday one, but I don't think we'll have another podcast this week because the Warriors aren't playing. So
yeah, you got no team naming.
Thought we'd better address that here. But yes, I agree. I think Tamati Martin has looked tremendous. We did a deep dive on it yesterday on the Mad Monday podcast. So go and have a listen to that. We've got a startling revelation as to why we think he's been so good, and it has to do with Tinder. So
he's a good-looking rooster.
He is a good-looking rooster. Go and listen to that one. Another caller here. Yours, please.
G'day, fellas. Shaq the Cat here. I love shitting on the Crusaders as much as the next Holland supporter, but I want to come into bat for Rob Penny today. He got asked that age-old dumbass question that Juno's always open up to coaches that are going through a rough time. Oh, you look defeated. How do you feel? Just trying to get a rise out of the poor bloke. How the fuck do you think he feels? So, fuck Tom Adelby, fuck Mid Canterbury, fuck North Canterbury. I'm going to go wank off my tail.
Oh.
Cheers.
Thanks, Shaq the Cat.
One of my favourite mascots, Shaq the Cat.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, he makes a good point there, but saying that if you're in a professional environment, you're a coach of a professional sports team and you're not doing well, you know those questions are coming.
You should know.
You should know, and don't forget, every single one of these teams has a media team, of which there is an media advisor, a media liaison.
Who he was talking to during it.
Correct. So, look, I know he got a rise out of him, and he would have been brilliant. I got the rise out of him I needed.
Yeah.
He was obviously, as you've mentioned, looked like he was having a shit day.
Yes.
Because there's so many other easier ways to answer those questions. It's like, how do you think I'm feeling? I'm feeling terrible. As other players, we know we're better. We're trying to be better, and that's our goal for the rest of the season. And that's kind of like shuts that down.
Yeah.
And I tell you how you feel. I just did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They have to ask it because you aren't just going to stand up there and outright just say how you feel.
Yeah.
So that has to be the first question. How did you feel? Like,
Yeah.
You guys are losing. How does it feel? By the way, when you're winning and he asks you how you feel, you're the first to go, oh, this is amazing. Oh,
Yeah,
so happy.
the team's so good.
This is great.
Management's great.
Love it.
No, I don't buy the fact that I don't buy it. He was doing his job. He was probably just a little bit more annoying than the usual kind of media, who are all rugby media, and he's not rugby media.
No, this is the only reason why I didn't like it is because it just reeked of that old school rugby mentality of, hey, you're not allowed to ask me that because I'm a rugby coach in Super Rugby, so I'm like King Dick, you know? Like, this isn't high school.
He'd have a massive dick, I reckon, as well.
Rob Penny?
Yeah, he looks like a kind of guy who's operating a massive horse.
I don't think...
Are you saying he's got a small dick? I'm going to tell him that. You should go to the next you go to the next press conference.
Going to a press conference and calling a journalist a disgrace and a cunt doesn't reek of big dick energy to me. I don't think dudes with big dicks get flustered like that. You know what I mean? I think they keep their composure a little bit more than that because in the back of their mind they're just like, you want to compare these things? How are we going to play this?
So you're saying that if he did, he would have just removed his pants there and then?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
He would have just,
Yeah, he flopped out the donk.
He would have,
the donk, and then the junior would have gone, fair play.
I concede.
Yeah. I'll see you next week.
I see that you're quite clearly feeling great, despite all of the recent failures. But anyway, he turned around and won it. We did notice on the commentary, and we talked about it, that they sent a female reporter to do the pre-game interview. It's like, go on, Rob.
Have a go.
Go on, what do you reckon?
Call her a next Tuesday.
Yeah, and he didn't. But yeah, so I don't know. Shout out to Shaq the Cat, as I said, one of my favourite mascots. Maybe my favourite mascot of all time.
Strange thing to whack off, though, the tail. Anyway.
Yeah, I suppose it is. One last one here. Call it yours, please.
Shop's gonna break.
Thank you. All right.
That was nice. I mean, my only recommendation there for him is if he'd have had 3 or 4 more people in the car and they're going, fuck, South Canterbury, and like done it in a more of a kind of barbershop quartet.
Like a Beach Boys
vibe
to it.
Instead it was just on his own in the car.
Look, he worked with what he had.
Yeah, true.
And, the creativity for, I'd say probably like a 9 for an idea and maybe like a 6 for an execution.
Yep.
So 18 points, but...
and 10 out of 10 for pushing the talkback button on your iHeartRadio app.
Yeah, that's right. And you can do that too. Get in touch with us. Send yours through. Tomorrow is a Wednesday, so we will be bringing back another half-baked sports idea. I'm off to my desk to do a bit more research into that to make sure that I've got all my dates and figures correct. And we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Agenda Podcast.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda Podcast, brought to you by Export Ultra. For more episodes, like and follow on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.